Welcome to Meldon Law and Friends. We have a great show for you today. We've got the head basketball coach for the Florida Gators, Todd Golden, as our guest, and it's going to be interesting to see what Todd has to say about this upcoming season, which starts next Monday, as a matter of fact. So stay tuned. Before we get to Coach Golden, we're going to go ahead and talk about what's going on in the community. Again, there's lots of crashes that are occurring, I think because the snowbirds are coming down, the students are back in town, the football games are on in Gainesville, Ocala's got lots of action, so please be careful. Realize there's some amateurs on the road. We need to protect ourselves. In the event you are in an accident, I have a free consumer guide entitled 7 Mistakes That Can Wreck Your Florida Accident Case. It'll keep you in the know as far as what to do, what not to do, when you need a lawyer, when you don't need a lawyer. All of the questions are answered. All you have to do is go to our homepage on our website. So it's meldonlaw.com is our website. And right at the top of the homepage, you'll see a little button where you can get a free download of our consumer guide. It's all free. There's also a great consumer guide on what kind of insurance you need. You need to buy uninsured motorist coverage. I'll say it again. You need to buy uninsured motorist coverage because the state of Florida is the only state where insurance is not mandatory for liability. All the insurance that's mandatory is $10,000 in property damage and $10,000 in medical insurance, personal injury protection, and that's just not enough. So please protect you and your family. A couple things going on. So our good friend Elio Piedra is on the air, 2 Fiesta Radio. I think it's 95.7. And the 2 Fiesta Radio 2024 Festival is this Saturday at the Bo Diddley Plaza, downtown Gainesville, from 2 to 10 p.m. It's going to be filled with Latin music, dancing, games, art, good vibes, and lots of great food down there. And the headliner is Willie Chirino, who will be performing at 8 p.m. For those of you that don't know Willie Chirino, I didn't know either, but I found out that he's huge in the Latin community for many, many years, and he is going to just blow it up. Everybody's going to have a great time. A couple other things. November 2nd, chili cook-off in Marion County at the Livestock Pavilion in Ocala. I guess that makes sense. If you're going to have chili, you might as well do it at the Livestock Pavilion. Join the festivities for this renowned chili cook-off. It's in its 43rd year, and they're going to have a competition for the best chili. There's going to be a car show, bake sale, children's area for play music, and everybody is going to have a wonderful time. So again, Saturday, November 2nd, 10 to 4 p.m. at the Livestock Pavilion in Ocala. Williston, we have our new office located in Williston. Come join us right across from Hitchcock's. November 8th, there is going to be a party there, Wine and Food Fest at Homestead Park. Some of the fine wines from around the world are going to be there, and it's going to be tasting and education. So go out there and get yourself educated. I guess if you drink enough, you get higher grades. Anyhow, that's Williston Wine and Food Fest, November 8th from 6 to 8 p.m. The Tom Petty Festival was originally the second week in October because of the hurricane Helene. They had to move it, and it was rescheduled till Friday, November 8th to Saturday, November 9th. It's going to be great. There's a huge lineup. I know that Stan Lynch, the original, one of the original members of the Heartbreakers, is going to be there. He has a group. Stan is an incredible musician, drummer, and songwriter, so don't miss it. Check it out. The tickets, you can get a whole weekend ticket for $50. You can't beat that. So, again, November 8th and 9th, Friday, Saturday, the Tom Petty weekend at the Heartwood Soundstage. Here's something new. November 9th, 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. at the College of Central Florida in Ocala. They're having a TED Talk. I love TED Talks. They're so interesting, and they really expand your mind. They're going to. The theme this year is humanity. The meaning of humanity is compassionate, sympathetic, or generous behavior or disposition. The quality or state of being humane. It is benevolence, goodwill, sympathy. It can be understanding and kindness towards other people. And I think they're going to explore that, and certainly at a time when a lot of people are running to the extremes, we need to embrace humanity and try to be kind to our neighbors and our friends. So I think that's something really to be looking forward to. University of Florida is playing LSU. That's our next home game, November 16th. We at Meldon Law are giving away tons of tickets. So go to our Facebook page or Instagram page, Meldon Law, and you can spin to win. And great, you enter the contest, and then you can come to our Fan Fest activation right outside the O-Dome and spin to win. But if you go to our Facebook or Instagram page, just put in Meldon Law, and you will be able to get into a contest to win some really great seats for the LSU game. We're always giving away tickets. Volleyball is in swing. Now we've got women's basketball and men's basketball coming up. So there's a lot of really great teams. Shaq's daughter is going to be playing for the women's basketball team. So we got a lot of exciting stuff going on. Up in Lake City, Florida Gateway Pink Crisis Fund for Golf is taking place November 16th from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. at the Quail Heights Country Club. Wear your best pink attire and come out for golf, raffles, games, beverages, lunch, and more. Tea time, 8:30 with a shotgun start, three-person scramble, and it's only $60 per person, $180 for a team of three, and it supports Florida Gateway Pink Crisis Fund, which assists cancer patients in Columbia County and surrounding counties with medical expenses. So let's support a great cause. That's what's going on at Meldon Law and within our community in North Central Florida. It's an exciting time. It's fall. Everybody's back. Hopefully, we're done with those friggin' hurricanes for the year, and we can move on to a more normal life. So let's see what we can do to, enjoy ourselves and support some important causes in North Central Florida. We're going to be back in just a few minutes on Meldon Law and Friends.
Jeffrey, what are you doing?
Well, I'm joining the band, of course. Since Meldon Law is the official law firm partner of the Florida Gators, I want to help.
Dad, we're litigators. Let's stick to helping people in the courtroom.
Well, can we still hang out and jam a little bit? At Meldon Law, we won't back down.
I was going down a one-way street and a girl that was driving her car T-boned me on my scooter. I ended up going for an MRI and discovering that I had 2 herniated discs. Coming to Cary allowed me to not have to worry about what doctor I was going to see or what physical therapist I had to go to. They say, these are the people we trust. You're going to have a great experience there. And I honestly did each time.
Call Meldon Law. Your consultation is absolutely free.
And I was in an accident. Someone ran red light and hit me, and I was hurt. You don't know where to turn. Luckily, I called Jeffrey. These big insurance companies, they don't want you to win. They truly don't. But Jeffrey and his firm and the people that work here, they just really fight for you. You call the law offices of Jeffrey Meldon because you're going to need help, and they will help you.
Call Meldon Law right now.
Hey, Sammy, look who's there. Say hi.
Hey!
You again!
Meldon Law, Jeffrey speaking.
Jeffrey!
Somebody else hit us here.
Here we go again. Welcome back to Meldon Law and Friends. It's our great honor today to have my good friend and the head basketball coach for the Fighting Florida Gators, Todd Golden. Welcome to the show, Coach. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Great to be here with you, Jeff.
Yeah, it's really exciting. We got the season coming up. I know you got a game next Monday. The home game's a week from Thursday, is it?
Yep.
Yeah. So it's like, now's the time.
It's
right?
here. It's here. It's been a long off season, but we're less than a week away from our first real game.
Well, we're really excited. I know that you've been working hard putting a team together. Before we get into some of the current stuff, let's talk about your background and your journey to Gainesville, Florida.
Yeah.
I know you were born and raised in the Phoenix area, right?
Yeah, born and raised in Phoenix, Arizona. Both of my parents were actually East Coast transplants. My dad grew up in New York. My mom grew up in New Jersey, went to different colleges on the East Coast, and then kind of migrated out west. And you'll like this. My dad moved out to Phoenix in the early 70s after getting an opportunity to join a burgeoning law firm in Phoenix, Arizona after he graduated from Emory Law. So that's kind of how he got out to Phoenix. And my mom followed her parents who had moved out to Lake Havasu, and she didn't want to live there. So she stayed in the Tucson and Phoenix area, and that's where they met.
Well, that's pretty cool. I met your mom at a baseball game not too long ago, and your dad's he's still practicing law.
He is. He's like you, He's trying to just keep himself busy all the time, working hard. He's been in the personal injury world for almost 4 decades now, and had been a part of that firm that I spoke about before, and in around the early 2000s kind of broke off and started doing his own thing, and has been working with it by himself for a while now.
Well, that's great. Having a dad as an attorney, did you learn anything that helped you in basketball?
He always told me to stick with the sports and to stay away from law school, So that was a message a little bit. There was a time during my college life where I thought, maybe I would follow in his footsteps. But fortunately, basketball took me to Israel and took me back into coaching. And so I never went that path, but it was discussed for a short period of time, for sure.
So I know growing up you played basketball in high school, but you also played baseball.
Yeah. I grew up being baseball was really kind of my first love growing up, just waking up in the summertime, looking at the box scores every morning in the newspaper, and then watching WGN and TBS, when the Cubs and the Braves on every day. And, basketball I loved equally, but, Phoenix it's a summertime sport type environment. You can play baseball year round there. And, both of those sports were obviously a big part of my childhood.
Yeah, they have the Grapefruit League.
It was they had the Arizona Fall League, and then I think it's the Cactus League.
The
Cactus League, out there in Phoenix, and that was kind of my first introduction to Major League Baseball before the Diamondbacks moved into town in I think '97 or '95 or whatever it was.
Yeah, I grew up in Cleveland, and baseball was huge there.
Sure.
I was there when the Indians were good. So it was kind of fun. So you wind up going to college at St. Mary's, which is right near San Francisco, right?
Right. Yeah. So, in that high school time period, trying to figure out which direction or sport I wanted to try to play. And I was pretty good at baseball. I was pretty good at basketball, but I wasn't good at either to really get a bunch of offers or scholarships, And so I drilled down and focused on basketball my last year and a half and was able to walk on at St. Mary's College, which is about 30 minutes inland of San Francisco, really close to Cal Berkeley, just in that beautiful Northern California area.
Well, that's a beautiful area to live. So what was it like, as a walk-on? Because you had to prove yourself.
Oh, many a times over. It was great, though, because I played for Randy Bennett, who's actually still, I think he's entering his 23rd or 24th season at St. Mary's now. My first year playing for him was his third season, so that kind of shows the timeline there. But the one thing that he said to me as he was recruiting me and talking about his program was, then it stuck, was that it was a meritocracy. And he didn't care if you were a freshman or a senior, if you were a scholarship player or not. If you gave him the best chance to win ball games, you were going to be on the court. And that was something that resonated with me. And, I went from being a walk-on to a guy that started, 3 seasons for them playing in 2 NCAA tournaments, and it ended up being a great run for us.
Well, I know that you had a really good free throw percentage.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. We I think
you
80,
set the record.
84, 83, 84.
83, almost 84%. So this year, Meldon Law is donating $19.71 for every free throw that the Gator basketball teams make, men's and women's, to the Ronald McDonald House.
I love it. Yeah, it's a great thing that you do every year, if I remember correctly. And the one thing I'm gonna have to warn you on: this team should shoot the ball better percentage-wise from the line than our teams in the past. So you might have to open that checkbook up a little wider.
Well, we're going to challenge them. I'm going to tell them that 85% is my expectation.
You can tell them that. I'm not sure we'll be able to reach that on a yearly basis, but we'll give it a shot.
So what would you feel comfortable with, 73, 74%?
National average across Division I is 70%, 70.4 last year or something like that. I think we finished just above that, 72 or something like that. My goal for this team is going to be in that 74 to 75% range, probably.
Yeah, because that would be better than average, and it gives you another leg up. I know that, you've been here in Gainesville 2.5 years now.
Just about.
And you met your wife, Megan, at St. Mary's, right?
Yeah.
So how many kids do you have now?
We have two. As you said, Megan and I met each other at St. Mary's. She was a great volleyball player in college. And, she has been an incredible part of this journey, and traveling to New York and Alabama, back to San Francisco, now down here, and been an incredible support system and helped allow me the opportunity to coach in all these different places, which has been fantastic. And, we have 2 kids. Our son, Jacob, is 8 years old. And our daughter Madison is 6, and they're loving Gainesville. They're having a great time. Yeah,
I was wondering how, it's a big adjustment because you were in San Francisco for, 6 or 8 years?
6 years, yeah.
6 years.
Yeah.
So how's the adjustment been for the whole family?
It's been a big adjustment, right? I think, we were living in San Francisco, like you said, for 6 years. The last, 5 of those years with Jacob. I guess Jacob came right when he got there. So he was in San Francisco the whole time, Madison for a majority of it. And it's just a different lifestyle. It really is. There's a lot more space out here in Florida, warmer weather, more opportunity to become a part of the community, I would say, as Gainesville is obviously kind of built around the university, where in San Francisco, our university wasn't as important part of the city, just being transparent. So, we've enjoyed it. There's been your normal kind of growing pains moving across the country. We don't have family as close as we would like, but it's been a great place, and we've really enjoyed it.
Yeah, well, I'm glad to hear that. I mean, what sports are the kids in?
So Madison is a tennis player. She's a gymnast, and she's really enjoying kind of the acrobatics, cheerleading type, space. So she's very active in that. Jacob is He's playing everything. He plays baseball, he plays tennis, he plays flag football, he plays basketball, you name it, and he's going to be playing it. So Megan and I, depending on the days, we run a shuttle service, getting these kiddos to and from their practices. I know you've lived that life before. So, but we're enjoying it, and we really enjoy watching them compete.
Well, that's great. Do you think you can score tickets for your daughter for the gymnastic events?
Absolutely. She actually really enjoys the volleyball at UF. So we try to do a couple games a year of that, and then soccer as well. We have not been to a gymnastics event this year, but I think they start getting rocking and rolling about the same time we do. So we'll have some opportunities come the new year.
The trick is they only have 5
home meets all year, right?
Meets all year, right? Yeah. So you got to kind of take a look and see if you can figure that out with your basketball schedule.
Well, and a couple of them generally are the night before our games, in the season. Yeah. So we got to balance it and see how it goes. But I would love to get out there and support.
Well, at the very least, have Megan take the kids.
Absolutely.
My wife and I go to every event. When we're in town, we love going to the gymnastics events because this year they may be the best team in the country.
Yeah, no, Jenny's done an incredible job. Actually, Jenny Rowland was a young assistant at Auburn when I was an assistant at Auburn, so it was really neat to come here and see all the success that she's had.
How do the coaches socialize, get to know each other at University of Florida?
Scott does a good job, at least, in my opinion, of kind of gathering everybody at the beginning of the year. And as you can imagine, just like any profession, there's turnover, right, over the course of the 12 months of the year. And just in different events before school starts, whether it be at his house or just getting the coaches together for meetings on campus. There is a great culture at UF in terms of, first of all, having expectations of your program and being successful, and also supporting each other. So it's been really neat to be able to kind of ingratiate myself and our family into that program and into that culture.
Yeah, the women's program's pretty friggin' amazing, right? When
you
look at their programs, softball may win the national championship, gymnastics might win the national championship. Mary Wise has one of the storied programs in volleyball. You've got soccer and all those lacrosse is swimming. It's been so anyhow, let me ask you this: how do the coaches around the country socialize and get to know each other?
In terms of basketball coaches, I think a lot of it is it's a small fraternity, at the end of the day, and a lot of us that have kind of picked this profession to live within. It's hard to get out once you get in there, and you kind of learn to live this lifestyle. And we spend a lot of time together in the summers, as we're on the circuit recruiting and evaluating players and prospects. And as you kind of, this is the 4th institution I've been at, and you come across different people at every stop. And so those relationships matter, and you stay in touch with those people along the way. And the more time you spend in the profession, obviously the more relationships you're able to build. But it's a fraternity. I feel like we try to look out for each other and support each other. But at the end of the day, we have to beat each other to survive. So there's a lot of love in the off season, but once the season gets going, it gets a little more competitive, as you can imagine.
Well, the Gators have been to 5 Final Fours, and I've been to every one.
Wow.
And I've been to every national football championship the Gators have been in. So I feel like I'm a blessed Gator fan, right? Now, a secret I found is in 2000 we went to Indianapolis to play against Michigan State, and who eventually won. And we got a room at the Hyatt Hotel, and that's where all the coaches were staying. And ESPN was there. And on the Sunday, between Saturday and Monday, all the coaches were there doing interviews all day long, and they were having get-togethers and meetings with each other. And, Huggins was there with Jerry Tarkanian, and I saw him at the bar, right? And I go up to him and say hello and introduce, and I got a beer, and I'm sitting there with these 2 giants of basketball. Sitting there at the Hyatt Hotel outside of, where the arena was. And they were telling me, at least back in 2000, that was tradition for
Yeah.
all the coaches to kind of meet at where the Final Four is.
Yeah.
And, obviously there were only 4 coaches
That were still working.
that were still working. But that it was kind of, I don't know, do they still do that?
Absolutely. The Final Four is definitely, kind of looked at as kind of an end-of-year get-together for the programs that are no longer playing. But I will say the one thing that has changed dramatically is our springs in terms of the way that our profession and our business is. It used to be more quiet in the spring, and so you would feel like you had the opportunity to go to the Final Four and spend time, with your fellow coaches, and then still be able to do stuff with your family and get some time that way. But now, in this transfer portal era and the way that rosters turn over, we don't get as much time in the spring. We're recruiting, we're building our rosters. And so now what I've done the last couple of years, since being fortunate enough to be the head coach of Florida, is I just take my family to the beach. When the younger guys on our staff take off to go do their networking and hanging out with their friends, Megan and I grab the kids and we go over to Ponte Vedra and try to lay low for a couple of days. And I'm fortunate to now be at the point in my career where the networking piece is not as important, right, as it was probably 10, 15 years ago. So I try to use my time a little more wisely. But my hope is this year and the coming years that we are still working for that weekend.
We will be. I promise you. So who are the coaches around the country you stay in touch with the most?
Oh man, it's a great question. We kind of have a little bit of our St. Mary's tree, which we're very proud of, and that's Randy Bennett, who I played for, Kyle Smith, who's now the head coach at Stanford. Those two guys coached me in college. And guys that we've worked with kind of in that realm. Obviously, I have a couple of them on my staff now, but Kevin Hovde and Carlin Hartman, Jonathan Sapphire, John Anderjak, all 4 of those guys worked with us at Columbia over a decade ago, believe it or not. And they're now here in Gainesville, and that's been really neat, being at a place as amazing as Florida is with that staff and being able to try to, do some great things with them here. Mike Magpio at UC Riverside's a great friend of mine. Chris Gerlofson, the head coach at San Francisco, who took over for me, is someone that I'd consider really, really close. And then the Pearls, at Auburn, Bruce and Steven, they're like family to me. I worked with them for a couple years. Bruce coached me back in 2009 on the USA Maccabi team. And, I think of those guys, as I said, as family, people that I really enjoyed working with. And it made it even tougher to compete against them in the SEC championship last year, and not being able to become victorious.
Yeah, I know. And Coach Pearl is great. He came to the Student Jewish Center at Chabad about, 12, 15 years ago when Steven was still playing.
Yeah.
And he spent 2 or 3 hours with the students, and he hung out. The game was at night, and they got there the day before. And he just seemed like a genuinely nice, caring person.
Yeah, no, he was. I owe him a lot in regards to where I am today and kind of learning from him over my career. And even though we're the biggest competitors right now, being in the SEC, we still do everything we can to support each other, obviously, when we're not competing against each other.
So I look at the SEC, and we've got 7 teams ranked, right?
Yeah.
Including the Gators, right? So what does that say about the strength of basketball in the SEC now?
It's as good as it's ever been, and it's interesting because back in 2014, when I left Columbia to go work at Auburn with Bruce and Steven, when Bruce got that job, I just remember the concerted effort by Mike Slive at the time and Greg Sankey, who was the second in charge at that time, to lift the basketball in this league because the football was great, as we know, and I think the year before only 3 teams or something made the NCAA tournament, and so they knew that was not okay, in this league, and I think there's 2 things that really kind of catapulted this league on a basketball level. Number one was that self-evaluation process back 10 years ago. Like, hey, this is not good enough. We got to really.
There was Kentucky and Kentucky and Kentucky,
right? And then Billy in Florida, and that was about it, right? And then before he left, and so just that self-evaluation process, and then the schools made a concerted effort to go out and get the best coaches, right? And you look and you saw Auburn got Bruce, you saw. Tennessee got Rick Barnes, obviously Calipari a couple years before at Kentucky, Nate Oates at Alabama, Eric Musselman at Arkansas. There was just this big influx of really, really talented coaches, And collectively, they were able to raise the profile of this league. And now this past year, you enter Texas and Oklahoma into the equation. You have two more really, really good programs. Now you have 16 teams. And, the reality is we feel like if you finish around 500 in this league this year, you're going to have a really nice seed in the NCAA tournament. That's how competitive this league will be. So we're going to do everything we can, obviously, to finish in that top 4. And if we can do that, we're going to be in really, really good shape. But other teams will still have opportunities to advance, even if they're not in that, top 6 or 7 of the league.
It's pretty amazing where you look at Kentucky and they're not even in the top 6 teams in the SEC, and you shake your head.
Yep.
So does it help in recruiting? Being in an elite basketball league?
Yeah, I think it helps, because the best players want to compete against the best, and they want to prove that they're the best. So I think that is a nice part of it. Here specifically at Florida, I think our history and tradition is something that we really pour into when we talk to recruits. We have our 2 national championship trophies located inside the lobby of our practice facility. So the first thing that our student athlete recruits and their parents see when they walk in are the trophies, and then the Billy Donovan, sign. So, just that history and tradition is what we really pour into along with the facilities. But you know what? Everybody in our league has really good facilities now. We do pour into the academic piece. Obviously, Florida is one of the best public institutions in America, and so we value guys that appreciate that. And then the reality is NIL is also a big part of recruiting right now. That's just the way it is. So we're trying to navigate that to the best of our ability. But Florida is a good place to be able to recruit to.
Well, I've been a huge basketball fan. I think back when Norm Sloan came here, he started really getting some decent teams playing here. And I used to go to all the games, so I've kind of seen it evolve. From 1994 when Lon Kruger took us to the Final Four until 2014 when we went to Dallas.
Right.
We were in 5 Final Fours in 20 years.
Nice run.
And that was a pretty nice run.
Yeah.
So when you talk about the Gator brand and the heritage, how does that resonate with today's young athletes?
The great thing for us is that as you mentioned, it was really in the mid 2000s that Billy and his staff and players won back-to-back national championships. That's when I was in college, and the great thing is Al Horford, from those teams, is still playing well in the NBA. So it's not like we're talking about guys that our players have never seen before. They don't know who they are. Al Horford is still starting for the best team in the NBA. So there is something that we can kind of parallel and connect between that era and now. Our guys know who Joakim Noah, is. Our guys understand how, impactful that his career was in the NBA. So, just being able to tie that to these guys is really important.
Now, we have to give a plug to Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, which we're here at right now.
Yeah.
You can see all the football helmets behind us. How do you utilize Spurrier's Gridiron Grill to help in recruiting?
Well, we do most of our recruiting meals here. I could probably name the menu start to finish and give you every dish that's being served here. It's a great place. And the thing that we really love about it is just the energy that's in here. Fans from across the state come in here on a regular basis. The one thing that I've always thought is really neat is how much time Coach Spurrier actually spends in here. It's one thing to put your name on the restaurant. It's another thing to really engage with the patrons and be a part of the experience. And that's something, to me, that makes this place uniquely special. And obviously they do a really good job with the food, which is something that keeps us coming back.
Yeah, Coach, the head ball coach shows up here all the time. So if you guys want to come out and support one of the great restaurants that I've ever been to, it's a museum. It's pretty unique.
It is. It's a sporting venue with incredible memorabilia. You see the helmets in here, and then all the the national championship memorabilia out there. It's a eye-changing experience, for the people as they come in here.
Yeah, I'm sure the recruits, and they come with their parents, right? So the parents actually know who Steve Spurrier is.
For sure.
The kids go,
no, they've heard of the old ball coach. So we make sure they understand when they come in here. The head ball coach.
Don't ever call him the old ball coach.
I will not. He will not appreciate
so I don't know if you know, Spurrier and I are the same age within 8 or 10 months of each other, but I'm older, so he calls me senior.
I love it.
Anyhow, I wanted to ask you, we hear all the bad things about NIL and transfer portal. What are the good things about NIL and transfer portal?
I think the one thing that everything, as the times change, as you get more comfortable with what's going on, you kind of understand the picture more clear. And I think that's where we're at with NIL. Initially, when as it was the Wild Wild West and there was no governors around it, it wasn't necessarily great for the sport, and for the direction of where we wanted to go. I do think, what's good about it. Number one, these student athletes are working their tails off, and also I think most of them, all the guys in our program, we talk to them all the time about it, understanding and appreciating the value of a scholarship, first of all, right? Being able to go to a university like Florida for free and get the best education and be able to use all these resources. But on top of that, the reality is, specifically for football and basketball and some other sports on our campus, they are creating revenue for the institution and for the university. And what that formula should look like in terms of what they receive, I don't have the answers to that. But it shouldn't be zero, I don't think. Mm-hmm. And so kind of figuring that piece out and working through the House settlement, which should be coming to fruition here in a couple months. The student athletes do deserve a piece of the pie, in my opinion. The coaches do, the university does, the student athletes do as well. So continuing to work on the right solution for that, I think is really important. I think we're on the right track. And for the transfer portal, I think, listen, the fact that the students are amateurs, I do think it should allow them the opportunity to move if they do desire to do that. I don't necessarily think it's best for them in the long term in terms of learning about mental toughness, about learning how to operate through adversity, because that's not really what happens in the real world. If your job's not going well after 6 months and it's your fault, you don't just get to say, hey, I quit and I'm going to go find another job that's paying me the exact same. It's just not realistic. And so I think that is the concern, that maybe we're providing a little too much freedom of choice to where they go, because it's not necessarily preparing them for the long run. But then the other argument is that that's not our job to do that. We need to provide, this free market landscape for them, and then they'll continue to learn. So, I personally, if I could write the transfer legislation, I would allow everybody to have a one-time transfer exception like they used to. And then if you want to transfer again, you can, but you have to sit out a year. And that would be the choice that you have to make. And then also allow student athletes to leave like they do now if a coach leaves. Because I do think there is a lot of decision-making going on behalf of these student athletes based upon the coach as well as the university. So if a coach leaves, gets fired, or takes another job, I think the students should be able to take a step back and say, all right, I need to reevaluate if this is where I should be because of this big change. And if they want to leave, they should be able to leave on those terms as well.
Well, I think that the transfer portal has helped a lot of basketball players that maybe started at minor schools as far as the development of their basketball programs and the leagues they're in. And it should benefit the SEC, because I think it gives an opportunity for young players who've developed sometimes over 1 or 2 years and they want to transfer. Some of them, they graduated in 4 years,
right,
and they decided they wanted a graduate year.
Yep.
I don't want to call it a farm system, but in some ways it's similar to that.
Listen, it's what it's becoming, right? And I think the reality is, some of the mid to low major schools do a wonderful job of coaching and evaluating and developing. But unfortunately for them at this moment, they don't have the NIL resources that a lot of us high major schools have. And to the point of freedom of movement for the student athletes, one of the reasons of why they fight for the transfer portal is because they want that opportunity to earn NIL when that window is available to them. And the reality is, a lot of kids right now are going to make more money in college than they ever do playing professionally. And that's just factual information. So if a young man is playing well at a low major and they don't have any NIL to support him, he probably should have the right to see if a school like Florida or another SEC member institution can do that for him.
Yeah, look, if they've been playing at a minor school and they come play in the SEC, they're going to get airtime. They're going to be playing against really good competition. They're going to develop their game. You can only go so far if you're playing what I would call minor league competition versus the top teams in the country. So if I'm a really good player who started out at a school and now I want to step it up, that's a perfect reason for the transfer portal to exist.
Yeah, I agree completely. And I think, we've seen a lot of success so far since we've been here using that model, right? You go back to our second year, we brought in Walter Clayton from Iona. We brought Micah Handlockton in from Marshall, Zion Pullen in from UC Riverside. All three of those schools, would be considered in that low major to kind of low mid range. And all three of them are obviously very good players. They've had a lot of good success here. So it's to your point, it is something that's been on a short period of time proven to work and be successful. And I think we will have similar success this year with a guy named Sam Alexis who's coming to us from UT Chattanooga.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's great. There's only a few players in the NBA, right?
Right.
Okay.
350, I think.
350, and only about 2/3 of them play much.
Right.
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 So, what about the international leagues? I know you had mentioned earlier you played with the Haifa team from Maccabi Haifa. Yeah. What was that like?
It was amazing. It was a great experience. Still talked to a handful of the Israeli guys that I played with while I was over there. And just an experience that, nobody will ever be able to take away from me, right? And just something that I'll continue to look back on now. About 15 years ago, I still can't believe it was that, long ago now. But just something that, I'll have for the rest of my life. But and also got a great appreciation for international basketball, and that's been a big part of how we've built our teams, both at San Francisco and here at Florida. I think we have 5 or 6, maybe even 7 international guys right now. 6, I think it is. At San Francisco, we had 7 or 8. So we'll continue to evaluate in that market.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the NBA and some of the biggest stars, Luka Doncic and
all of them. Giannis, Nikola Jokic, like all these guys. I think the last 3 MVPs were all international.
I know you're a sports card collector, right?
I am.
Okay, so who are you betting on to as far as moving up?
To keep going, I what I've started to really enjoy doing with Jacob is we're looking at some of these good young rookies across the different sports. Like we got a nice Wemby auto rookie. In football we got Malik Neighbors. We got some other good young players, and just seeing how they do over the course of the year has been really fun. We got Wyatt Langford, former Gator, Paul
Wyatt,
yes. We got some good ones. So well, hopefully they have success, and over the years it continues to kind of gain some value.
My dad was in the real estate business. I've always invested in real estate, but Freddie Weeby's got me thinking about switching some of my money. No, for those of you that don't know, the card, the sports cards and other cards as well are really big, and they're getting more sophisticated. Yep. And they actually have value, and you can trade them, and it's not like funny money. It's
it's a real deal right now, for sure.
And the ones that are the most valuable are the ones that cost the most.
That's right.
They tend to go up more.
Absolutely. Yeah, and if you have any from when you were growing up, those would probably be pretty valuable too, brother.
Well, I did have a client that owed me some money once, and he
took some cards.
I didn't take the whole fee in cards, but I took part of it. So I know I have a Jerry Rice rookie card, but I don't think that one's worth a lot for some reason.
Maybe it was they call it the junk wax era, where they just they printed a lot of the cards. So
yeah, that's a whole nother deal that we could talk about. I want to talk a little bit about your coaching philosophy. I know you're really focusing on rebounding, on turnover ratio, and things like that. And when you were in college, you had the second best turnover to assist ratio in the country. Talk about that and how it affects your recruiting as well as how you're coaching the team this year.
Yeah, I just think the way we look at the game is pretty analytical. And obviously as you watch basketball, you see highlight dunks and threes, and people focus a lot of their attention on that. But just like any sport, you can kind of break basketball down and really drill down on what's really important to being successful. And as you mentioned, the things that we really like to pride our program on are developing our guys in the areas that don't require talent. So what we mean by that is obviously you need to have some physical talent to rebound or to jump in the air, but it's more of a mental toughness process over result thing where we're trying to make sure we win the rebounding battle against our opponent by a 10% gap every game. We want to make sure, to your point, we take care of the ball. We don't want to be lackadaisical with the way we value the basketball. We want to have way less turnovers than our opponent. We strive to really take good shots. We're not a program that allows guys to take shots that aren't efficient for the offense. So we really hunt catch and shoot threes and dunks and layups, and really try to limit our mid-range jumpers unless they're open, going middle, and shots that the other 4 players on the court know that we're going to take. But big picture-wise, we're looking for smart guys that can execute. We're looking for mentally and physically tough guys that don't get too high or too low depending on the circumstance and can really focus and execute. And obviously you need talent. You need guys that can put the ball in the basket. But around those guys, you need others that are doing the dirty work that really help you win.
So last year you were a little concerned because of some of the fouling going on. On the other hand, a lot of teams I see are aggressive at fouling as part of their defensive strategy.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that?
I think it's a balance. I think we need to, last year we fouled a little too much, but we also were not turning our opponents over enough. So it was kind of a bad marriage in that realm. We need to do a better job of fouling less, but also providing enough pressure defensively on our opponents to make them turn the ball over a little bit more. And that's something that we've been working on quite a bit this offseason.
So the defense is something that doesn't get the glory, right?
Yeah, to an extent, for sure. It's,
you see it, but
Yeah.
but most fans are watching for the 3-point shot and screaming and yelling and stuff like that. But really, in most sports, defense, pitching wins in baseball.
That's right. No, and that's where, last year we were fantastic offensively, but we were not good enough defensively, and we got to improve this year. I think we will, to where, on nights where we're not shooting the ball great or we don't execute like the way we want to, we can still have success and win.
Yeah, I mean, look, if you're out rebounding the other team by 6 rebounds a game, and your turnovers are plus, you're ahead by 4 on that, and then 6 and 4 is 10, right? And that means you get 10 more possessions than the other team.
And a possession's worth a point. So put it that way.
Yeah.
If we can out rebound it by 6 and turn it over 4 less times, we should probably have a 10-point advantage in that realm.
So besides the rebounding and the turnover ratio, is there another metric that you really feel is your top 3 or 4?
Yeah, well, there's 2 kind of ways I would explain it. In terms of just overall philosophically, basketball-wise, the 4 things that equate to winning and losing is effective field goal percentage, basically what your 2-point field goal percentage is, plus the value of your 3-point field goal percentage combined, and then turnover rate, which we were just talking about, rebounding rate, which we were just talking about, and then another one is free throw rate. How many free throws you shoot per game divided by the field goal attempts you take. And if you are better than your opponent in all 4 of those in a game, you're going to win by like 25 points. If you're better in 3 out of 4, you'll win by 10, 15. 2 and 2, it's going to be tight. You only win 1 out of 4, probably going to lose by 10. You get smoked in all 4, you're going to lose by a lot. So those things we talk about a lot. In game specifically, though, we really try to hunt what we call a kill defensively, which is 3 stops in a row. If we stop the opponent or prevent them from scoring on 3 consecutive possessions, that's considered a kill. We want 7 of those a game. If we get 7, we're going to win the ball game.
Because that's challenging.
Very challenging.
Just to get 1 means that you're doing something right.
Yep.
So how do you explain to players, during your practice, that you're working on this particular defensive skill? Do you structure your practice like that?
Yeah, we generally spend the first 10 to 15 minutes of practice doing some type of skill work to warm up, and then we get into some sort of 5-on-5 breakdown, whatever we want to focus on that day. Maybe it's transition defense, maybe it's half court execution. And spend about 10 to 15 minutes there. Then we really drill on our defense, and probably about 20 minutes. Specifically, we call it 2 ends, where we have 2 different stations on each side of the floor. working on different things, and we come together as a team, work on defense. And the guys by the end of that are really, really ready to get to the 5-on-5 action. So then we start playing more up and down. But yeah, we really, we'll break it down to where on one end, we're working on our post defense, and then on the other end, we're working on our pick and roll defense, stuff that's going to show up in the games, over the course of time.
So everybody, all the college kids that come to the University of Florida and the other SEC programs and other top programs around the country, their dream is to play professional basketball. Do you also prepare them for the reality that they're probably not going to be professional basketball players?
Yeah, I mean, we don't necessarily, spend a lot of time talking about that, but that's something that these guys learn over the time of being here, right? They all get here, and a majority of them were by far the best player on their high school team, and then they walk into a program like Florida where, we're preseason number 21 in the country, and they look around and they're like, well, that guy's really good, that guy's really good, that guy, there's nobody on the team, that they can look at and say, man, I'm definitely. So I would say that initial entrance into the college world is a wake-up call, and over the course of their time here, they're either going to become pros or they're not. And I think, the great thing is we are hunting and recruiting guys that really value the education, like I mentioned before. So I think we have guys that are a little more realistic than other programs maybe. But, I want guys that want to be pros. I do.
Yeah.
I want guys that want to play in the NBA. Because if you don't feel that way, you're not going to make it.
Right, especially at the level of the teams you're playing right
That's
now.
right.
I mean, now what's the interaction with the parents when you go on recruiting trips and stuff like that? How much do you spend talking to them about we're trying to develop them into young men that are going to be leaders?
Yeah.
Where we are there programs that actually focus in on that so that the parents feel like, yes, he's going to have a chance. My kid's going to have a chance to, make the pros if things fall right. However, the most important thing is the development of him as a human being.
Yeah, honestly, every student athlete that we recruit is different. I think that's the unique thing about it, and it's really I would say our approach or our sell is different dependent upon the situation and the fact. Like I said, we want and are looking at guys that are good students, so we want them to understand and value the academic piece. But there are some guys that obviously appreciate what the Florida degree can do, but they're full focus on being pros. So we spend more time talking about basketball. And then for the parents specifically, again, it's talking to them about what is the most important thing to them about their son's experience in our world, and then we tailor our recruiting pitch based off that.
Yeah, I think you have to, because there's some folks that are just, going to be focused in on, one thing. However, when they get here, they do have the opportunity. I know at your training facility, it's you have a great training facility, and over at Hebner, I guess they get to meet all the other athletes and socialize. That's pretty cool, isn't it?
It's an incredible kind of home base for all these kids to be able to go and eat lunch there every day and see their fellow student athletes. It's really neat.
Yeah, and for the guys and girls, they can meet each other and hang out, and
No
you never know. So we're getting ready to wrap things up. I think we're really very, very excited for the season. What are the home games you've penciled in that look like they're going to be huge games for us?
Yeah, I think non-conference, obviously the opener, next Thursday against Jacksonville will be a great game, being able to get back in the O-Dome. It was so good to us last year. We only lost one game in the O-Dome all year last year. So kind of getting that started. And then the SEC, ACC Challenge, getting Virginia, at home will be a great game. I don't have the date on the top of my head, but it's the week after Thanksgiving, and that will be an awesome game here at home. We play Southern Illinois, which will be a fun non-conference game here. And, I'm looking forward to hosting Tennessee again in the O-Dome and conference play. We get Texas A&M, we get Texas. We're going to have some really, really good contests in conference play.
I think Texas is, I think January 18th. Anyhow, Freddie Wiebe and I picked that game for the Meldon Law game.
Okay,
because
beautiful.
that's going to be a huge game just because it's a new, Texas is new to the conference.
Right.
And it is wonderful, I think, that the SEC had the leadership necessary to, bring in Texas and Oklahoma, and before that, the other teams that we've added over the last 10 or 15 years, because it's shown that, the SEC and the Big Ten are basically going to direct the future of college sports.
I think that's what we're seeing right now. And to your point, when the great thing about the SEC is people aren't choosing that they come to the SEC. The SEC goes out and chooses you. And that's what they did with Texas. That's what they did with Oklahoma. And Commissioner Sankey, along with the commissioner of the Big Ten, have done a great job of really just kind of, for lack of a better term, making sure that the SEC and the Big Ten are the center of college athletics.
And the SEC really is kind of the Southeast United States, whereas the Big Ten is. Now Rutgers is going to go play USC, right?
It's a little interesting to say the least.
Well, it's going to be interesting on the student athletes and traveling and stuff like that, because for a basketball game, football, they'll maybe leave a little earlier. You think the same thing will happen with basketball?
I think, but you look at a school like, and not even in the Big Ten, but Stanford, where one of my former bosses now works. They're in the ACC, so they're talking about traveling to Duke and to Virginia, and it's just like.
For a Tuesday night 2-hour basketball game,
right?
Trip.
It's going to be a long trip. So I think this first year of this kind of conference realignment will be tricky to work out.
Well, I want to thank you so much for coming. We got our basketball here for the Gators, and it's really an honor to see the basketball program improve the way it has. We're really excited. I've been going to the games for 35, 40 years, and I sit right behind Coach Golden here, screaming and yelling, and stuff. And we hope that, the crowd is going to come out this year, because last year we only lost one game at home, and you can, tell the fans how much that matters.
Oh, there's no doubt. The support that we receive in the O-Dome is a huge part of the success we had last year. And the thing that we thought was great was every game towards the end of the year, we were getting more and more people there. And we had over 11,000 people at that senior night game against Alabama, where we just played very well, won by 20, and solidified our tournament resume. And we hope to do it again this year.
I know. I was in Alabama when on the trip with you when we got our butts kicked
2 years ago. Yeah.
2 years ago.
It was a nice reversal of fortune for sure.
That game, I was so excited at that game. I was just shaking my head, going, "I can't believe this." But anyhow. Coach, it's great having you on. I hope that, sometime later on we can have you back on and you can talk about a wrap-up of a great season.
Let's do it.
And you've done a great job of recruiting the kind of talent that we want to see. And it's going to be – I can't wait. I'm ready to go.
Thanks a lot for having me.
So thank you very much.
Thank you.
And that's a wrap on Meldon Law and Friends.